See, it's getting darker and darker, and there's just no way right now for these drivers to know exactly what's going to happen.
These guys are going to have to be really, really careful and tiptoe around the track until it's either stopped.
Not even 10 minutes into this race, and I feel like we've got enough strategy going on for a whole event, but still a long, long way to go.
There's Yellowstone, there's Yosemite, but for racing fans and for Grid Life's Elkhart Classic, the destination is Road America, the National Park of Speed.
Free ride in the front of the field here. Look at Emil Tab up the inside for the race lead. We head down to the first corner.
These guys have no idea what they're coming into. Look at this field. They're 2 wide, 3 wide, a couple places slipping.
Side by side for the race lead. 54, 48 through 3 and 4. Working lap number 60, 110 laps to go. Yusuf Ghali, power move to the bottom of the racetrack, making the short way work. They're going to touch down the hill.
This will be a great run for Fuller here. Yeah, typically ran off the track in the final quarter of that lap 4 to get a massive.
Here he comes.
Does he have a look?
Oh, big block here by Sanfilippo. Into the grass goes Ben Fuller for turn 1. And Sanfilippo hangs on. He's loose. No! And he crashes hard in the exit of turn number 2. Don't try him here, boys. They're going to do it. Gritsko backside. They touch. They're going to crash. Gritsko going to slam the attenuator hard into the wall. And Jared Tesson hits him as well. And big damage on these cars. That's huge.
Number 4, people are struggling for grip, going out of every single lane, trying to then run. It's getting really insane.
Powered by AWS for the Intercontinental GT Challenge, powered by Pirelli. And the Indianapolis 8-hour. We are 7 hours and 18 minutes into this 8-hour event.
John Miller way deep on the brakes to the inside of turn number 1 and 2. The spin, the 3 car gets turned around in front of Paul.
James Houghton looking for a place to go, but he's got Austin Cobb to the inside. A bit of a gap behind. I think that's about 15 or 16 spot as they come out of turn 3. Big slide over this.
Getting a run. He's got it. Going to be a drag race line. Final corner. Checkered flag waving. Here they come. At Virginia National Raceway. To the line. Thompson, Darling, door to door. Banging doors. Fender to fender. I can't believe what we just saw.
As one door closes, another one opens. The regular season is over for the 3-Wide Cold Hard Arts Cup Series, and now they begin their several race chase. And what a great place to start for a retro-themed series than at Rockingham, a track that should have never left the Cup schedule. My name is Finucuna here with Connor Horn presenting this race, 125 laps here at the Rock.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to be here. Finally, once again, back with you. It's been a while between us two being in the booth together, so what better place to do it than the Rock? Such a fun track, whether it's the new Cup cars or the 87 Cup cars. It's such a thrilling experience to be able to drive this track, and it's going to be a little bit more rough and heavy for these 87 cars. These drivers are really going to have to handle these cars for all 125 of these things. Even under the yellow, you got to handle them, so you can't fall asleep at the wheel. So I think it's going to be a really fun race to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of the drivers have finished their qualifying runs here. Currently on the top of the board, it is currently Cameron Rich in the 17 machine doing very well for himself. As you see Jeffrey Fisher in the 98 coming off onto the back straightaway. I'm trying to actually get the logo to come off the screen. It's not cooperating with me. We're going to just cut to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. All right, there we go. Everything should be back up and running, but you can see there on the left side of your screen, Cameron Rich at the top of the board. Jeffrey Fisher in the 98 doing very well for himself. Eisenman in third. Race Clark in fourth, and Justin Coe rounding out your top five. Looking for some other guys on the track. Looking at James Miller in his 09 machine, a very quick driver. Definitely a threat to win, but obviously there's one driver in particular that seems to be better than all the rest usually. But Miller definitely not one to sleep on.
No, you can't sleep on him whatsoever. He's got the point advantage after the reset for this chase that they're going to do here. Only a 3-point lead, but any point, pretty much every single point matters here in a format like this. He's one of the faster drivers. He's one of the better drivers at these short tracks, but he's always getting challenged by Gruberg and the rest of his teammates and the rest of the competitors as well. He's just got to keep his car pretty much clean the whole entire race, and he should come away with a good finish just because of the pure speed he has.
Oh, and actually didn't get a chance to put a qualifying time down. Not sure that was by design or not. He was really close to the line, unfortunately. Not gonna get quite there yet. As we're now gonna be set for gridding here. And as we mentioned, Cameron Rich looking very strong up at the top of the running order at the moment. How do you reckon are his chances for winning this race?
I think he's got a really good shot. He's going to have a really good, he's going to have the best, sorry about that. He's going to have the best track position out of anyone, obviously. I think this is going to be a race where the track position is really going to matter for a race like this, where it's going to be really hard to pass. I feel like these cars, you want to be glued to that yellow line. So if you're restarting on the front row, it's going to be very vital. With this double file initial start, I think you're going to see a lot of drivers from that top lane trying to dive down and find a hold of a bottom. We might see a lot of stack ups because of that, so we'll have to watch for that.
Absolutely, and coming into this race, James Miller dominating this series so far. 6 wins to his name. Can he get win number 7? He's going to definitely have to have a lot to overcome. He's going to be starting from the back with his teammate Matt Grunberg in the 54, both of them near the back of the pack. But knowing their speed, obviously with the amount of wins they have in that wins column, quickly going to move their way to the front here as the pace car is going to be out and away. We'll take a look here at your starting lineup. Cameron Rich starting on the front row next to Jeffrey Fisher in second place. Moving on next, on the next row, we have Drew Eisenman in third with Race Clark line up at fourth.
Then the third row, Justin Kolb and Michael Goodman, two very speedy drivers, saying that a 24 flat by Kolb, 24-4 by Goodman, really big split there. Then fourth row, Corey Lindsay, Tanner Sharp. Sharp, a really aggressive driver. A short track like this really suits him.
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving on back, we find in ninth place, we find Mike Stevens in the 63. Next to him, Corey Lindsay sitting in 10th place, followed by Brady Smith in 11th, and then Nick Boyne line up in 12th.
And then 13th, last driver to put down a time, Alex Boyd, a 52nd lap, big flyer there. Matt Gruenberg, 14th. Next row, Chuck Sweeting, James Miller. And then the final row, Jonathan Cogswell and Skylar Nissel to round out all 18 drivers starting this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Not the biggest field, but you don't really need a whole lot of cars to make a race around here pretty interesting. As pace car gonna dive off down onto pit road, Rich gonna get control of the field, and here we go. Green flag in the air here at the Rock. Clean start for Cameron Rich onto the back straightaway. He goes, trying to stay ahead of second place driver Drew Eisenman, who has the top two have pretty much broken away from the rest of the field to complete lap number 1.
Yeah, really good jump for those two drivers. You saw how big an advantage it is to start on that inside lane. The outside lane just didn't go. So Jeffrey Fisher back to 4th. Trying to see Race Clark right behind him in 5th. That outside lane just doesn't go. It's going to be very vital, especially if we get late restarts. You see Cameron Rich way up the track in 3-4. Don't know if that's by design. I'd want to be on that yellow line, but then again, the last car I drove here was the new Cup cars. I don't really know how these handle here.
Yeah, I was trying to do a few test laps earlier. Interesting way to drive this track. I was finding the car really going high up on the banking, especially on entry. You got to get these things slowed down quite a bit. And Eisenman seems to be taking a lot more of an aggressive line. Actually, just will ride on board with him for a little bit as he's trying to chase down Cameron Rich, who's starting to break away from everyone else.
Another thing with these 87 cars, they react so much more because of the bumps. Rockingham is not a smooth track at all. The bumps are even a problem in the new Cup cars, so you can imagine how difficult it's probably going to be for all these drivers today. As Eisenman, that might be what they're doing. They might be going high just to avoid those bumps on the way bottom.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as the tires start to wear out, trying to figure out how these cars to handle, especially as you're saying over the bumps through these corners, is going to start reacting differently as this run goes on. So long run pace is going to be very important. As you can see, is a fairly slow start for the 77. Here he comes back on Cameron Rich, going to immediately look to the inside.
Well, seeing how big of a run Eisenman got on the bottom, maybe you do still want to be on that yellow line. It wasn't even a contest right there. Put Eisenman, the 77 car, to his front spot.
Here's to see here if we're going to see any contest from Cameron Ridge back, or do you think he might just kind of sit in the line, just try to ride, maybe see what the 77's doing differently?
I think he might just want to ride behind Eisenman. He got past the Weasley. I don't see a point to really try passing him back unless Eisenman just makes that big of a mistake. You see him slide up the banking a little bit, open the door for Justin Kolb, the 52. He slides up the track, almost contact there.
Jeffrey Fisher, another quick driver, working to the inside, started in second, falling back to fourth, but going to take at least third place back, gets to the inside of the 52, going to take that spot, and hello, here's Race Clark in, I believe that's the Dr. Pepper machine, going to try to have a look on the 25, or sorry, the 52, I should say, heading down into turn one.
I didn't even notice this to the start, but almost contact there on the apron trying to get under Kolb. Kolb really pinching him hard there. Good job getting through that. I didn't even notice this at the start, but the drivers with the blue spoilers and everything, the blue accessories to say, I'm pretty sure those are the chase drivers, so that's a good little touch there. I like how the coloring looks on these cars.
Yeah, and also, I did mention it too, also same thing, the cars on the track with the blue spoilers and blue accents, same thing with the ticker. Drivers in blue are your chase drivers, and currently at the moment, leading chase driver is Drew Eisenman. He's trying to collect as many points as possible. Cameron Rich trying to chase it because he doesn't care. He's just out here for wins, trying to work that 77, but definitely starting to see the two favorites at the moment. Again, we still got some solid drivers midfield and slowly working their way up the order.
Yeah, speaking of slowly working up the order, Matt Grunberg kind of doing it way quicker, especially also with his teammate, I believe teammate Chuck Sweeting back there, or at least a good friend of his, already into the top 10, 9th and 10th. Grunberg and Sweeting are. Those top two, they look fast, but they're going to want to get away real quickly because that 54 is very fast.
And James Miller started in 16th, but is a little bit slower of a climb forward compared to Matt Grunberg, his teammate. From 16th to 12th, let's still keep an eye on him. The race is still very much young. It tells you these two guys because they're absolutely going at it nose to tail. You can see them breaking away. And this is a bit of a concern considering how hard they're fighting with each other because they're definitely pushing one another. Is this a little bit too early to start fighting, or do you think that they're pretty much on pace?
I think for Cameron Rich, if I was him, I'd kind of just ride behind Eisenman. Just to get a feel for how to drive the track with 52, a bit up the track behind Tanner Sharp. He's dropping pretty fast, but I'd ride behind the 77. For Eisenman, I think he wants to keep the track position. He wants to keep leading laps, so Cameron Rich just pressuring him. That might be by design by Rich as well, to pressure the 77 into overdriving his tires and falling off in the long run. That could be his strategy.
Yeah, you're talking about Justin Kobe. Started in 5th, is moved up pretty well, up into highest 3rd at one point. Now slowly starting to trickle back as we got a pass up ahead. Race Clark on an absolute tear, working on through, gets past Jeffrey Fisher. Tanner Sharp trying to follow on through. Here we go, almost 3 wide on the front straightaway. He's going to take it all the way to the yellow line. Clark going to have to give him at least the room on that inside lane. Here we see car all the way on the bottom, car all the way on the top. Which one's going to win?
He's going to get that run on the top. Tanner Sharp going to clear high. Not quite clear. Almost contact there. Race Clark wasn't happy with that. They almost made contact. That could have been it. We talked about it earlier before we started broadcasting. Tanner Sharp is known for how aggressive he drives. That might be a reason that he didn't make the chase, because of that aggressive driving costing him. We'll see if it costs him today. He's looking pretty fast.
Yeah, absolutely, and working to the inside here. Still double file all behind them. This is called a massive stack up in cars. The leaders are up ahead. You can't even see them in the shot. They're 2 seconds up the road. It looks like those guys were pacing at the moment at 100 miles an hour. Still side by side. Neither driver wanted to go. There's first and second place, and there is third, and everyone else pretty much in this race as Sharp defending aggressively to keep that 22 and the 52 in behind as well. Ooh, as Cole chucks it into the corner, almost wipes up into the 22. 3 wide for a second between 1 and 2, and they somehow don't make contact.
Yeah, I can't imagine Race Clark's going to be happy with the 3 machine. He avoided a big wreck not going 3 wide middle. There's no way he's happy about that. He lost so much track position, and probably more important, he lost the position to Matt Grunberg.
And Grunberg gonna make his way on through there. You see a mirrorful of that 22 Ford Thunderbird with the blue accents, indicating Clark, a chase driver, was looking really good up at a moment, but got bullied by the 3 of Tanner Sharp back into the pack. Clark still all over the back of Grunberg just yet, so not quite out of the running. But Grunberg has been pretty good at managing his stuff over the course of a long run, so he's going to be slowly but surely working his way up through the order. He's also done a lot of the heavy lifting, already up into 5th place.
He's done a great job getting up there cleanly as well. That big gaggle of cars that just now got broken up really helped him get into the top 5 so quickly. Just 15 laps in. Justin Kolb hit the apron at a 2, almost looped it around. That's going to give Grunberg a big run here in a 3. Not going to take it.
Yeah, and Kolb starting to struggle a little bit more. He was able to benefit from that battle we saw with Sharp and the 22. He was able to get a spot, but now here comes Grunberg, going to work his way on by. I don't think Kolb's going to put up too much of a fight here, and indeed he won't. He'll give that spot to the 54. Checking on back here, still a battle brawling. Here comes James Miller now, starting to really get through a lot of the traffic pretty quickly. He's got his teammate, the 98 of Fisher, right up ahead of him. We'll see how this goes between the two Chevy Monte Carlos.
We'll see how much Fisher has to battle with. Started second, went back to 4th early, and he's back to 7th already. He's probably going to fall back to 8th here. He's probably going to let James Miller by. Not sure how much of a fight he's going to put up. Maybe, oh, Chuck Sweeting got in there real deep, almost to the back of Miller. But that 98's really struggling. I've seen him struggle on the long run in a lot of races I've covered with Kyle, so that might be something to look out for.
You saw Chuck Sweeting try to look up the inside of that 09 machine. Couldn't quite get it done. As we see also in behind, Brenton Miller trying to make a move on Jeffrey Fisher, can't quite get the move completed. And we'll check back up. We haven't watched our leaders for a while. They are also starting to separate out just a little bit. Rich trying to break away from Drew Eisenman. Want to also take a look at the lap times between these drivers. For Cameron Rich, best time, or last lap really, I think is going to be more important. 25.9 for Rich and 26, a little, almost a 10th off for Drew Eisenman. So he's starting to lose some time here to the 17 car. And taking a look back at Taylor Sharp, who's now, he's got a mirror full of Grunberg. We saw him fighting very aggressively earlier on with the 22. Now let's see if he's going to do the same with Grunberg here.
I'm already seeing drivers getting way sideways off of 2. That was Justin Kolb, who's been struggling. If Tanner Sharp drove the 22 that hard, I have no doubt in my mind he's going to do the same thing with Grunberg. We'll have to see here. Grunberg, the last 2 laps, was 2/10 faster than both of the leaders, and this time by is actually a bit slower because of catching up with the rear bumper of Tanner Sharp, so he's going to try to dispatch him quickly here as the 52 goes way up the racetrack in 1 and 2.
Yeah, looking at Grunberg as well, and Carl is getting, I can imagine it's a little bit nervous being the 52. The car starts sliding around all over the place, especially compared to everyone else in behind. It looks like he's starting to build up a little bit of a train of cars. Going to see how this man. That car looks really out of control, especially the way he exited the corner. You see, he did not get a lot of speed. Clark trying to take advantage of that.
Yeah, Clark's being really passive with him right now. He could have already forced it to the inside, but he's trying to keep his nose clean. Kolb on the apron at a 2, getting loose again. Not the first time we've seen him do that. Race Clark, James Miller, Chuck Sweeting being they're all being nice with each other. Race Clark might have gotten the wall on entry there. They really stacked everyone else up. James Miller had to take to the apron.
Kolb, a little bit loose for him out of turn 4, caught one of the bumps. Clark, as you're saying, trying to manage his situation. Start up in 5th, currently back into 6th, and then we got Miller directly in behind, trying to get past the 22 car. You can see a little bit of a scrape from that 22 machine, so definitely had some sort of contact with the wall here. You see them, everyone diving for that inside lane.
Race Clark wasn't able to stay on it. Look how hard the bumps just carry his car up the groove there out of a corner and able to keep it out of the wall there, but that's something to look out for. The more these tires wear, the more those bumps are really going to affect the car, and you got to be careful. It might jump out of nowhere on exit, and you could just find yourself killing that outside wall.
And also taking a look at the weather conditions too, fairly cool for the most part. Air temp 65 degrees, track temp 91. Could be cooler, but also could be a lot hotter, and we're still seeing some of these guys already starting to slide around. On a relatively warm surface, so if we can imagine only if it was 110, that would be a lot worse, especially for the 52 of Kolb. I'm sure he's happy with that. As you see now, to the inside goes James Miller. Clark trying to battle it out on that outside lane. Quite haven't seen that outside lane come in. We've seen everyone diving for the bottom, and just like that, whoa, oh
boy.
Wasn't completely without drama. As you see the 09 of Miller fishtailing it out at turn 2. We'll get the spot, though. In very dramatic fashion, I will say.
Yeah, he was trying hard to complete that pass. Barely made it work. Good job, Race Clark. A lot of people have been aggressive passing Race Clark. The second time, he's almost been having nowhere to go on the outside at a 2. He's been dropping down the order because of how passive he's been. Maybe he's got to start getting aggressive with some of these guys here. It's starting to cost him because of how non-aggressive he's being.
Had a bit of a dive there. I think Force 52 up the track, going to try to throw it to the inside. And it looks like Kolb not going to put up much of an effort there as the 09 of Miller, he goes up into 5th place. Still looking back, still amazed that this battle is still going on. Grunberg trying to get the job done. Sharp not yielding an inch here as they come flying off of turn 2.
Yeah, Sharp. Yeah, Grunberg made the move to the bottom, and Sharp had nothing on the top line. Seems like not enough rubber, not enough grip up there yet for anything to work on in that second groove. It's usually yellow line or die pretty much at this track from my experiences. And I think that's proving strong here already as Grunberg got to the bottom, and it was already said and done. He got that third position. Now he's got a while to go get up to those top 2.
Indeed, and the gap's only started to expand more and more as the run's gone on. Cameron Rich, 1 second gap between himself and Eisenman. Eisenman still in the hunt, though. Again, it's tough to see these guys over the course of a full fuel run. And speaking of which, too, that's looking to be 90 to 100 laps is off of the numbers we've been seeing. So these guys are going to be on these tires for a decent amount of time, and I don't think they're going to dare go anywhere near close to that full 100 laps. Probably going to see guys come in. Trying to do some mental math here.
Around 62.
62, thank you.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know why I have that mark in my brain for some reason, but around 62. But I actually wouldn't be surprised to see people stretch it the full 90, 100. I've seen that in the past. I remember doing the Indianapolis race with Kyle here. I almost said Finian. I didn't do it with you, but I almost because I expected them to kind of split that race up, lap 40. Doesn't matter now. No reason for fuel issues. Cautions out. We've got a wreck. It's Mike Stevens and Brady Smith.
And taking a look at him, all the way stuck on the bottom of the track here. And we'll take a look and see what happened to him.
Oh,
got a little bit of a piece of that as we're moving on back. This involved him, and that's I'm trying to see which car. It's a 20 of Brady Smith, as you mentioned. Trying to throw it to the inside here. Oh, make contact on the straightaway.
Oh, barely missed the inside wall. Brady Smith's going to take a huge hit on that outside wall there.
That car's going to be done for the 20.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
heavy hit. I'm just curious to see really who's going to take blame for this.
You see Stevens kind of swerved to the inside, and then it's kind of like they went for the same spot. They kind of went into each other there. Huge hit. My goodness. Corey Lindsay barely avoided that.
Yeah, let's take a look from the blimp here. Yeah, no, they kind of just found each other in the same part of track. And these cars are hard to move in direction, we'll say. You have to kind of... You've seen it over the course of the run, guys trying to save it off the corner. There's a lot of drift in these cars, so you try to counteract that by just cranking the wheel in the other direction. And a lot of times it doesn't work, but pit stop's underway here for leaders. I don't think we're going to see anything too crazy here. Looking like this race more or less is going to be pretty green, although I feel like I'm going to eat my words. Because I think that was definitely the case in the fuel race at IRP. It was looking like that race is going to be pretty green, and then I spun out and brought out a litany of cautions.
Oh, you didn't have to mention that. You could have brushed that under the rug, man.
I will say I think that's the only caution it really caused in that series so far, so I guess that's something I'll be proud of. Notably, Race Clark and Jeffrey Fisher passed on through pit road, did not come into their stall. So interesting stuff there. So that would actually give the lead of the race to Drew Eisenman. And then Matt Grunberg actually pulls out ahead of Cameron Rich, who should be third in line once this little cycles out. Tanner Sharp, James Miller, your top 5 I want to see. And here comes Race Clark and Fisher. Not sure why they didn't come down if it was maybe they missed their pit stall. That's a pretty costly mistake, I would say, especially considering both these cars were near the front half of the field.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they could have. I thought it would be pretty self-explanatory, but they're going to come in. They're going to have to work their way all the way back up. Race Clark, they were actually kind of falling back anyways, especially the 98, so they'll have a good opportunity to maybe just feel their car out a little bit and hope it doesn't go green all the way. Just hopefully have some time to just feel the car out and know how to run the track and all that. We're going to restart with around 90 to go now, I believe. Just around 90 to go. So the fuel might go all the way. We might see drivers. We were about to talk about it that the yellow came out. We might now see drivers maybe perhaps stretch that fuel all the way.
And that's the thing too, is that you know, if you didn't have to stretch the fuel all the way, you could have just come in. You didn't have to worry too much about tire wear. Not entirely sure how that's going to be for these drivers if they've been managing it at all. And so now, if anything, they're going to have to. We know that they're more likely than not going to be able to run the full distance. Now it's going to be a matter of tire conservation because you have to carry those tires quite a few laps, I would say. And we've already seen some drivers, notably the 52 of Justin Cope, struggling with tire wear, so he's going to have to try to overcome that.
And we saw the drivers who were really good on those tires getting more worn, especially obviously the 54 of Grunberg. He has some left front damage from my view. I'm not sure where that came from. Not sure who he might have hit, but he has some damage there. But I don't think it's really going to affect them too much. He's been the fastest car on the track ever since the tires started getting a bit more worn, much faster than Eisenman and Cameron Rich. So being on the front row for this start is going to be pretty vital. If he can get to the bottom, hopefully he doesn't lose too many spots being stuck on that outside.
I'm just trying to look here and see who's run the fastest lap of the race. Let's see. I think that honor might be going to Justin Coben, the 52. Trying to see. I don't see any faster lap times set by anyone else. 24.3 for him. Everyone else a little bit slower. Actually, nope. Sorry, it's Cameron Rich. Just was a few thousandths of a second faster. 24.346. Gonna be stuck in third place here. We'll see if he can overcome that. Car is double filed up, ready to go. The Mustang pace car is gonna dive on back to pit road. Field in control of the 77 Eisenman. We'll see what he can do with it as we go back green here on lap 35.
Good jump for Eisenman. Not enough for Grunberg to get to the bottom. We'll see if he pinches Cameron Rich here. Rich just sends it into turn 1 there to get that second position.
Wow, and actually going to get a great run off the corner. Might have a shot of getting the lead here. Not quite going to have to just back it down to make sure he doesn't hit the wall. But a rocket ship, that Boeing, it's taking off like a Boeing as he's trying to catch the 77 up ahead of him. Grunberg going to have to settle in for third place. He's got his teammate right behind in fourth. Tanner Sharp also waiting in the wings. So we got some really competitive cars here in this top 5.
Yeah, that 17 machine definitely looks one of the best, if not the best, on the short run, especially on the restarts of how he just looked like he got shot out of a cannon there. Big run out of 2. He's going to go to the bottom this time.
Yeah, let's see if he's going to make it stick. That bottom lane definitely preferred. It looks like Eisenman, he's not even going to bother. He's going to back out of it. That's going to allow Grunberg to also sneak his way on by. Up for second place here as we come back to the line.
Now the issue is trying to hold off Grunberg. You know he's going to be in tire conservation mode. You don't want to get past by him when he's still conserving his tires. You want to stay in front of him. At least you have a chance of holding him off here. I was just trying to look at the lap times, the fall off. You mentioned a 24.3 by Cameron Rich at the beginning of the race. He dropped all the way down to a 26 flat in just 30 laps. So this tire wear is almost so bad that maybe you're not going to stretch your fuel, even though the fuel might go the distance. You might want to actually come in for tires. It might just be quicker.
Yeah, really only these guys know, especially, I think that first one was definitely a good indicator. They ran 30 laps. You can kind of extrapolate that to how the tires are going to be, you know, by the end of maybe a long run. So we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see if these guys decide it's worth waiting to and being patient on these tires. One guy isn't being patient at the moment is Grunberg, trying to size up the 17 of Cameron Rich up in front as these two breaking away from the rest of the field.
That 54 gets out in front, it's going to be tough to beat him. James Miller back there, he's all the way up to the 5th position, but if he still wants a better shot at this win, you better hope he gets up to the front before the 54 starts to pull away. It's going to be trouble for the rest of the field.
And also here comes Tanner Sharp, going to get a piece of apron as well as he's trying to size up the 77, so great battle for first and third place going on simultaneously here. Some great drivers up near the front duking it out. Tanner Sharp going to fall a little bit off of Eisenman, going to try to get back on him off of turn 2. And as we look back up at Grunberg and Cameron Rich, and do you think Grunberg's going to be a bit more patient, going to let calmer heads prevail, or do you think he's going to try to take the lead away? Is that clean air going to be worth it for him?
I think he's just kind of conserving a little bit. I think he could definitely be pushing harder if he wanted to lead. But at the same time, I don't know if Cameron Rich could be pushing harder. You saw how fast he was in those first 2 laps, especially. This might be all he has, and he might be really wearing his stuff out harshly for the long run if we do get one. So he's got to be careful here.
The battle died out a little bit for now. Now another battle starting to slice back up. Miller, not the best of restarts for him. Dropped back a few spots now. Immediately going to get a great run off at turn 4. Going to be to the inside quarter panel of the number 3 machine, the Mountain Dew car. Miller going to send it into turn 1. Going to slide in front of the 3 and take the spot.
Yeah, in the middle of 3 and 4, he showed the nose to Tanner Sharp, and that kind of got Sharp up the racetrack a little bit. Hit that bump a bit harshly, which sent him up the racetrack even more. Let Miller get to the bottom, and it was over from there.
Great pass done by him. Now starting to get close for the lead. Yet again, Grunberg attempt number 2 on the back of Cameron Rich. You can hear the crowd going wild here as these leaders starting to fight it out.
I just noticed that too. They're going crazy, and it's only lap 43. Calm down.
Yeah, well, fans definitely getting their money's worth. Some great racing from a lot of these drivers up near the front of the field. It's been an entertaining race to watch, and almost close to halfway. This race is also starting to fly by as well. See Grunberg keeping that car glued to the yellow line. Rich, not so much, and he's going to pay the price. Here comes Grunberg, now making a move to the inside on the front straightaway.
See how hard Cameron Rich drives him into 1 here, not too much hard. I think he just wants to get back to the bottom. Maybe try a crossover at a 2 as the 54 clears him. 17 on him, hits him there at a turn 2, gets really sideways. I think Gerberg's going to have him.
Yeah, try to do the over-under out of the corner, but again, we talked about it. These cars very hard to maneuver, especially coming into and out of a corner, and Cameron Rich not able to set it up. So new leader Matt Groomer going to lead his first lap of this race at lap 44. Now let's see how long he's going to be able to stay there. We think quite a bit, but you never know in these races. As you look back at 3rd place now, Eisenman going to still hold over Miller and Tanner Sharp, and they got another group of cars sitting in behind. Justin Cope, interested in seeing if he's learned anything from that first run, can manage his tires a little bit better, as we got Fisher right in behind him.
Yeah, Fisher is trying to learn something as well. Really dropped back on that initial 30-lap run, so he's trying to get back up there, trying to get that spot away from the 52. Great run out of 4 there. He's going to be able to get to the bottom.
Yeah, and let's see if Cope's going to try to put up a fight. They make contact with the 52 and the 98. Cope looks like he's going to have to back out of the corner. Got to be very careful off the exit at 2. Looks like he's going to get no more damage from that, but it definitely cost him some speed. Now Brent Miller in the 89 trying to size him up in the in 8th place.
That was a good job by Kolb not to completely wreck everyone there. I think Fisher just kind of washed up the track a little bit, trying to send it to make that move work. Just a bit too hard of racing there, but Kolb was able to recover. I'll tell you what, this crowd is extremely loud. If they were this loud in real life, they'd still be going there, I'll tell you.
Well, they're loving it. I think what they're excited about is this battle starting to get pretty close between Miller and Eisenman. Miller getting a great run off the corner, trying to size up the 77. We'll see. He's not been quite able to get a move done. What I am curious about, if he gets past the 77, wow, they really do need to calm down. They're getting really rowdy. If he gets past the 77, can he catch up to Rich and even his teammate?
We'll have to take a look at the lap times. 77 way up the track. This might be a shot to get that 3rd position away, but just not getting through 3 and 4 quite well enough to be able to make that work. Eisenman actually a better run a little bit off of 4 there, as this group of about, it's not really a group, but the top 5 have really pulled away from everyone else. Jeffrey Fisher on back. Yeah,
and we were talking about them too, putting on a great, we had some great drivers in the top 5, showing that as you mentioned, they've broken away. Fisher, the next car, trying to break away from this pack, hasn't quite gotten clear of it. Cope still in the hunt, as well as Brent Miller, Nick Boyd. Haven't talked about him in that beautiful old school Doritos machine in the 74 car. Trying to look to the inside here of Brent Miller, heading off into turn 1, and it looks like Miller's going to back out. Oh, he's going to dive in. They're going to be very careful at entry. Almost took out the 52 at the angle he was going at.
He might still be able to get under him, even though he made that move. Kolb almost into a wall, gonna fish candle a little bit, able to save it very close there. It's gonna allow Nick Boyd to probably complete the pass out of 4, but Kolb's gonna pinch him down.
Great stuff here as you see Cope gonna ride that yellow line. It's been the dominant lane out of the corner. Cope not really able to do a whole lot, might be stuck there. Actually, as I say, it looks like he's just gonna get the chance to peel back in line in behind the 74. Good battle on in the midfield. Checking back up, Miller still sizing up Eisenman. This battle far from over.
The wall. Sorry, that's Kolb to really hit the wall hard there. It's going to allow Goodman and Miller to get back behind.
Take a look at it here. I mean, he's been making me nervous a lot of times coming out of turn 2. Yeah, cream the safer barrier. That's not going to be any good. We'll try to see if we can take a look at it here. Here's the exit. There comes this pack of cars. You see him way out of line already. Oh, and yeah, hard into the wall.
Camera survived, luckily. Kind of didn't expect that, but yeah, he's been, like you said, he was getting high a lot there out of 2. He was really pushing the limits, and he finally pushed him too far. His battle for 3rd heating up even more still. James Miller putting all the pressure he can on Eisenman, but Eisenman is not folding.
See the Monte Carlo, beautiful paint scheme of that car all over into the shot. See him trying to get a run, but can't quite get it. Eisenman's been holding up a lot on the exit of some of these corners. Nowhere for Miller to go because he's in the bottom lane, and that's the dominant lane, especially if you want to get the pass done. So I'm not sure if Miller's got to get creative, how he's going to get creative here.
I'd say he could enter high, exit low, get the run down one of these straightaways possibly to get that done, but that really hurts the tires. You really don't want to use that line as Eisenman's kind of running the middle there. I wouldn't recommend that for the tires, but it's been working so far. Miller hasn't been able to dive under him while Eisenman's up on that top line, so maybe Eisenman knows something we don't, but it is working so far. 09 can't get to it, but Eisenman's going to wash up off the yellow line there. Miller, he's really trying hard to charge the center 3-4. This is a shot.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's been getting great runs out of 3 and 4. It is his best shot. He's going to be to the inside quarter panel to 77. Might be all said and done as they're going to door each other heading down into turns 1 and 2. Looks like the Eisenman's going to be better off from that, and he's going to still maintain the position. How about that? Let's get another replay of that.
These guys are really aggressive with these dives into turn one. They either a really big dive by the inside guy or a big pinch by the guy on the outside, and that was a little bit of both.
All right, they're adoring each other. Some fantastic stuff. They're a nice good old door bang with each other here at Rockingham. Very old school, especially the way these guys have been driving very aggressively as well. As Eisenman going to still keep ahead of the 09. Do you think for Miller, do you think might see him get a little bit more physical now? Now that kind of the gloves are off?
I would think so. We'll have to see. We're about to get the halfway and all that. Grunberg's pulling away. Last time by about a second faster because of that deal into turn one. So that 54 is going to be pulling away. Also, even Cameron Rich is starting to get away from these guys. So he's going to have to try something here. You gotta be careful of Tanner Sharp as well there. He's kind of close to get on this battle as well as they get more and more aggressive.
Yeah, he's not going to be too far to bet you. I think he's hoping these guys get in each other. It'll be an easy third place position for him. He's kind of in the middle of no man's land at the moment. A little too far off these guys and well clear of everyone else. Speaking of that second group we were looking at earlier, a new leader, I guess, for that group. It's Nick Boyd in the 74 machine. Started in 12th all the way up into 6th place, so a great run for him so far in this event. See if he can continue on. I was going to talk about him earlier, but we saw Kobe hit the wall. Race Clark, whatever happened to him down on pit road, it cost him dearly. He was running in the top 5. He's all the way back in 11th and has not been able to really go anywhere since the restart.
Yeah, I'm not sure quite what happened. We saw him struggling a little bit as he kind of got bodied out of the way on that first run. And obviously he went through pit road, missed a stall or something, restarted at the very back, and he just hasn't been able to get through the field really that well. Jeffrey Fisher did the same thing. He hasn't got through the field as much better. He's only up to 8th, but still a better run. The 22 just not looking as hot right now.
Yeah, well, again, speaking of hot, just imagine these two guys very hot under the helmets here. We'll see if it's going to overflow here as you see them flying off into turn one. Man, the way these guys have been throwing it into this corner has been getting me nervous every single time, especially considering these guys have already made contact down there. Definitely turn one the more preferred spot to pass him in comparison to turn 3. A lot more guys sending to the inside there. And we'll see Millie's been setting up some great runs out of the corner. Speaking of which, here he goes for another one.
Going to be on his bumper. It's not going to be quite enough unless he wants to make a dive low here. Just going to stay on the back bumper. Maybe he hits him in the 1. I think he did.
A little bit of a tap. Definitely you see Eisenman way up the track. Ooh. Gonna close back down on him. Not going to let him pass. And we'll see a little bit of a good run for Miller off this time. But I think he's going to wait. He knows he's better in 3 and 4.
I think this might be it here. Eisenman not going to get... Actually, no. Eisenman's going to get a bit of a better run there. So the 09's not going to really have a look. These two battling very hard for that podium position. I think this is going to be the point, where James Miller kind of just done with it. He's going to enter high here, exit low. Maybe he gets to run into 3.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if he's going to change it up here and try to make a pass. We'll keep an eye. This is some great stuff. Just watching Miller trying to gain just a few hundredths, a few tenths to just try to get past, find something on Eisenman, who's been doing a fantastic job defending that 3rd place spot. It hasn't also been costing them too much time. They're still very much within grasp of the leaders, so they're slowly falling off lap after lap. It looks like Miller is starting to get back to him in the same capacity as a few laps ago.
Kind of surprised that Cameron Rich hasn't dropped back to him. I kind of expected Rich to kind of, especially with how fast he was, how much he was pushing, holding off Gruenberg, I kind of expected him to fall back to those two a little bit, but because of how aggressive those two have been racing each other, he's been able to stay there. He's also kept a decent pace with Matt Gruenberg, only a second, 1.4, 1.5 seconds back.
Yeah, and you can see for Rich, 26.1 essentially last time by. For Miller, about a 10th faster. A little bit more than a 10th faster for Gruber, but still keeping within touch of the 54. We still don't know what these guys are going to plan to do, if they're going to come down to pit road or cut this stint of about 90 some odd laps in half. Or they're going to try to go the distance. I have a feeling we could potentially see a mixture of the two, depending on how hard some of these guys have been running.
The guys at the very back of the pack here, you might see someone try to just stop and see what happens. Guys like Race Clark, Jeffrey Fisher, guys that are back there, kind of knowing that they're not going to really gain any more spots where they are right now. Maybe they'll try something.
Something happened to Nick Boyd. We saw him. We were just talking about him running in 6th place. He's back into 10th. So here's to see. I feel like something happened recently to him.
No damage to the car. I don't think he hit the wall or anything. So
got really close to it. I think he just got past here. This is you see Cove all the way in the background, still trying to dirt track this place. Yeah, no, looks like he was just kind of put out a line. You can see everyone kind of just sneaking their way on by. So from 6th back to 10th. So Boyd's gonna have to try to come up with something yet again. I want to keep an eye on Justin Cove because he's If anything, this has been interesting to see him drive this place. He's been absolutely on it. I think if there's anyone we can expect to see try to come down on pit road this run, could probably be the 52, because I imagine his tires don't want to be on his car any longer than they need to be.
Yeah, it's either going to be for tires or for extensive damage. With the way he's been really pushing the limits out of some of these corners, we might see him be one of a few retirees of this race. Chuck Sweeting being one because of internet. Brady Smith is out because of the damage and probably stuck in the care center with that hit he took. So that 52 is really struggling, trying to find something. Still hanging on to that top 10 spot, though. As this battle for third is not going away whatsoever. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes the next 60 or so laps to the end.
Yeah, again, this is interesting. You know, if one of these guys maybe decide to back off, save their tires at all, I can't imagine they're anywhere more concerned about saving tires than they are trying to beat one another. Ooh, a lap car up in the mix just ahead. Not exactly sure who that is. I think the 10 car of Alex Boyd.
Yep. Well, look at 09 is going to dive in, Boyd into a wall, but he gets out of their way. I thought Miller was going to give the bumper to Eisenman into one there, but he held off.
Yeah, and actually that time through, Cameron Rich lost a half a second to the guys in behind him, so it's starting to be, instead of a two-way battle for third place, it's going to be a three-way battle for second place in, I think, a few laps' time. These guys are still on a very quick pace despite fighting with one another.
I think Cameron Rich really struggled with getting through lap traffic there, but we'll see. I figured his tires would drop off hard at some point, but they haven't yet, but maybe this is when they do. Another person I think is dropping off is Tanner Sharp. I thought he'd close into the battle for third a bit more, but it just seems like he doesn't have the pace to stay with those guys. It's more likely he actually drops back to Brent Miller.
Taking a look at Tanner Sharp, here he is coming out of turn 4, and Brent Miller also now just working his way out of turn 4. About 4 seconds gap between those two, so I think he's got a bit of a cushion for now, but might not be too much longer. And Rich is really struggling with this lap traffic. See, he's lost even more time. He's lost a few tenths there. As you see, Eisenman now trying to work to the inside of the 11 machine, as Miller almost makes contact with the 11 and the 77 of Drew Eisenman. They somehow don't make it escalate anymore from there, but Miller now going to get a great run off of turn 4 sideways a little bit.
That outside entry kind of worked for him. I think he did get into the back of Skylar Nissel, but didn't damage the car one bit. It actually helped him a little bit. He's going to get to the inside of Eisenman and finally have the best shot he's had of completing that pass, but not quite done yet.
Nope, not done yet. Eisenman's still going to put up a fight on that outside lane. It's been quite a while. Has that groove rubbered up? We're over halfway through this race. Not quite. Looks like Eisenman's going to back off. Surrender that spot to Miller, who's not going to deal with Cameron Rich throwing a bit of a block. This can get ugly real fast. Here we go. Miller looking to the inside. Eisenman trying to look to the inside of him as well. Almost 3 wide for a moment, but they're going to sort themselves out. Miller up in his second place. Eisenman in third. Rich really starting to struggle on his tires.
And that's the best possible outcome for Gruenberg. He got through the lap traffic quickly and swiftly. No one really put up a fight with him. It seemed like Cameron Rich, Miller, and Eisenman, they just kept catching them out of these corners or into the corners. It seemed like they caught them at the exact wrong times, while Gruenberg got the runs on them at the perfect spot every single time. And that put Gruenberg up to a 4.5 second lead now.
Yeah, looking at Cameron Rich, you can see on the bottom of your screen, 42 laps on his set of tires. That is pretty much everyone else in the field. So, if anything, if we can start to see guys coming down, if that want to come down onto pit road, maybe looking coming in within the next 10 laps or so. And I can imagine there's a good majority of cars, though, that might try to stay out. Still seeing, I can imagine also, you know, we're talking about Justin Koch coming on down. I feel like Rich is going to want to come down, too. He's already lost a 1.5 seconds since Eisenman's gone around, so he's really struggling on tires.
Yeah, another thing about tires, we haven't even talked about the possibility of these tires blowing out. We saw a lot of it at Michigan when we went there. A lot of drivers, especially Jeffrey Fisher, kept blowing tires left and right there. The right front just wouldn't last. This could be another situation, a huge load on those right front tires. You got to be careful. That's another quality of being good at tire saving, like the 54 and the 09R. And actually, I think Rich does have a right front down. You can, because there's a sound effect, you can hear that right front is down on Cameron Rich.
Oh, yeah.
He's got to come in immediately. That's huge. He's going to lose a lot of time if he doesn't come down. So I don't know if you can stretch it all the way to the end as Rich is going to come down. I think it's tires that are going to dictate how many times he pit.
Here he comes on down. So interesting stuff. And I wouldn't say he's been running too aggressively on them, but it seemed like he was. I also want to take a look if we could hear the moment when it blew out. I imagine probably going to turn 1 here.
Yeah, once he starts turning in or something. Luckily it's not completely realistic, or else the day would have been done basically. There, he goes up the track.
Up there, everyone. Yeah, you can see how much angle of wheel he's putting in. He was, I think, cranking past 90 degrees, and once you start to do that, you start to really put a lot of scrubbing on the tires. So Rich down into pit lane. Now, I guess really key is, can anyone stretch it? Maybe just to try to, get some points, get a solid finish. It's gonna be interesting. I don't think so, but interesting to see here.
I want you to go see if you can look at him going down the middle of pit road. Just when he's in the middle of pit road, just riding through pit road. As James Miller's going to come down, he's going to undercut Grunberg. For some reason, Cameron Rich hit the pit wall. It looked like it was on purpose with his right front. Now, my screen doesn't have damage anymore, but probably frustrated with himself that he let the right front wear that badly.
Yeah, that could be. It might have also been trying to maybe adjust something heading down into pit road. Speaking of which, Drew Eisenman now coming on down. So you're starting to see a lot of the leaders are definitely going to be going in for their pit stops. Well, everyone save for Matt Grunberg just hit. We might see him try to stay out a little bit longer. But as green flag pit stop starting to come underway here, waiting on the 54, expect to see him go pretty... Never mind.
Because the wear is so bad. It's about a 3-second difference on new tires compared to old tires. So he doesn't really have that luxury of staying out a few laps longer because of his lead. Because it's 1 lap, and that 5-second lead gets cut down to 2.
And it looks like Tanner Sharp, he's going to be taking the lead of this race at the moment. So he's going to continue on. We'll see if this strategy call works for the number 3 machine.
My goodness, the rest of the field just came in. Brent Miller brought pretty much everyone behind him in. Jeffrey Fisher, Race Clark, Justin Kolb, Alex Boyd, everyone coming in for their probably one and only stop.
Pit stop going to be a very competitive place. You can see 5 cars in the shot, all working the way on down there. You see Grunberg getting service to his 54 machine, and everyone coming down to service their cars as well. So I guess so long to that strategy, although it's still got a decent amount of guys still on the track. I think they're going to try to stretch it. Maybe also hope for a caution coming out, potentially with other drivers blowing a tire and being worse off than we saw with Cameron Rich, who had a fairly calm tire blowout.
Got a race off pit road here. Grunberg coming out of pit road, and look at James Miller coming around the outside. He's going to get the lead away with the undercut.
Fantastic job. We'll see if he can hold on, though, and especially now Grunberg's got fresher tires here. See how quickly they take to get up the temperature. Not that far off at all. He's going to immediately have a run on his teammate. Got to look down low.
We'll see if James Miller wants to defend. It's his big points. You got to think points picture, but you also got to think teammate racing. Got to be smart here. He's just going to get right behind Grunberg, right up to the rear bumper of him. I don't know if he's going to have much to challenge with.
Yeah, I mean, James Miller coming in with 1,018 points. Grunberg 1,011 points for him after the points reset for the chase. So 7-point difference. And, I guess you could argue that maybe Miller's got a few points he can give up. But, every point's going to matter, especially when your teammate is Matt Grunberg. So you don't want to completely yield over for those. So we'll have to see, if he's going to maybe try to take it easy here a few laps and then try to charge back on, or if Grunberg's going to run away with it. We'll have to see how that's going to play out. Now we see Tanner Sharp. He's come on down to pit road to service his machine in the number 3 car. So that gives the lead of the race to Michael Goodman, who we haven't really talked about all night, I think.
Yeah, Michael Goodman, Nick Boyd, Corey Lindsay, I believe are the last 3 drivers who are staying out, trying to catch a caution, and it very well might happen. These drivers are going to be really dicey through these lap traffic. Look at the 54, going to get really held up by Nick Boyd into turn 3. James Miller is going to be able to close right back up to Grunberg a little bit here, as the 54 has got to be really patient here, as the 09 is going to go to the outside.
Yeah, well, so much for patience. Did Miller hit the wall?
I think he might have scraped it. I don't think it did much damage. Whoa. 3 wide. That's going to be tight.
It's still tight. As you see now, they finally got past Goodman. Nick Boyd up into the lead at the moment. Here comes Grunberg, and this is for position. So Grunberg going to pass. Sorry, that's not for position. I do apologize. That was to unlap himself. So Grunberg going to work his way on by. So is Miller. Now going to put themselves back on the lead lap. Boyd's still your leader with Goodman now coming on to pit road. Lindsay also going to be staying out.
That's big for the 54 and the 09. They're going to be the only drivers, if a yellow was to come out right now, the only drivers to be unlapped. It would still be big for Boyd and Corey Lindsay to be able to get back on the lead lap and also have good track position. This could work out for them, but they need to caution very quickly.
You see Grunberg coming up on the 52. Justin Kolb gets very close to that turn 4 wall on exit, the 52, as you see Grunberg going to dive it onto the inside. But that was an interesting few laps. Almost caused a wreck there with our 2 leaders or would-be leaders once this old cycled out, but it looks like they're going to make it on through. So Goodman in his stop getting service, still waiting on 2 more cars to come down on pit road, then we'll be officially through this pit stop sequence, just looking on through. Cameron Rich, interested in seeing how much time he lost. Not too bad, actually. He's only 3 seconds back from Grunberg and Miller.
Just about, I'd say. He definitely has the worst tire, so he'll probably drop back a bit more, but definitely could have been much worse. He knew what happened to the car. He knew that tire was down, that he had to come down to pit road. So good job on him to be able to control the car, because where it blew out, he could have easily just hit the turn 2 wall and been done, but he did a good job controlling that.
Yeah, he's going to have to be a little bit more careful, I think, on this run, because he's going to get close to around the same amount of laps he had that first run when the tire blew out. So he's going to have to man himself just a little bit, but doesn't have too much to contest with directly in behind. Here you see Eisenman is 3.5 seconds back from him down the road. And a bigger gap, 6 seconds back between Eisenman and Sharp. So fairly big gaps between the rest of our leaders, except for what should be first and second.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, that is probably the closest battle on the track. The effective lead of the race a second apart, and then Nick Boyd, Corey Lindsay 4.5 seconds back. Both those drivers stay on track still. Cameron Rich has been the latest driver to unlap himself from those guys.
You're watching the... almost said the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series. That's tomorrow night. The 3-wide Cold Hard Arts Cup Series here from Rockingham. Some great racing has been going on throughout the night. Starting to be a little bit quiet here as you see most of the field spread out across the oval, but some great stuff. It's been a great race to watch unfold. Still maybe some stuff that goes on down between the rest of these drivers, so definitely stay tuned to that, especially after last week at Charlotte. I just tuned in to watch the race. The last half of it was some really entertaining stuff with Race Clark taking home the win. Unfortunately for him, we've only had one caution today, and that was the one he made a very big mistake. Still hasn't been able to recover from that. Is still all the way back in 10th place, so it's not been a particularly good night for the 22 car.
As Nick Boyd, race leaders, finally come down for his probably final pit stop, as Corey Lindsay's going to stay out. He's going to take the lead of the race right now. Grunberg, the effective leader, obviously 1.3 seconds in front of James Miller, just about.
Boy working his way on down. I can't imagine Lindsay's going to want to stay out for too much longer. Not because he can't go the distance on field, probably could, but the rate he's going, he's running 26.1s. Grunberg in behind is in the 25s. He's catching him a second a lap. Yeah, I can imagine it's only getting worse for Lindsay too, especially the tire wear, although he's been managing it pretty good so far.
Yeah, it's definitely without he's not one of the fastest drivers in the series, obviously, but he's really good at it. What helps with that is that you can save the tires a little bit better, indirectly, obviously, and it just really helps on these long runs when you kind of need to do that. So he's going to probably stick this out to the very end. He might even stay out the rest of the race if he's good enough at it. He's obviously still probably trying to catch that yellow that he probably needs to keep this track position. So you never know, something might happen. It's worth the risk there. He was in the back of the pack a little bit, couldn't make up much track position, so why not risk it? Yeah,
and a battle going on with Nick Boyd, Jeffrey Fisher, Race Clark, and Brent Miller all in the shot. Here we see Race Clark, he's going to get his way on by moving himself up into 9th as he got past Brent Miller. Now Boyd trying to drive away with his 13 lap fresher tires than everyone else, so this actually worked out pretty well for the 74. He's got 6.5 seconds up to Tanner Sharp, though not sure if he can quite catch that 3 machine, but definitely see if he can. But it's been a pretty solid day for that 74 machine. Not in the playoffs, just out here having some fun. It'll be a good day for. Actually, no, he is. Sorry, I apologize.
He is.
I was looking for the what is it? The headlight decals, because
yeah, the headlights are a bit. Yeah. They kind of don't look. They kind of look weird. They kind of blend in. Yeah.
So apologize for that. He is in the playoffs, and it's going to be a good run for him. He's the 4th highest chase driver at the moment, so really good run for him. Next drivers are Drew Eisenman, James Miller, and Matt Grunberg. Still currently sitting second, still waiting for Lindsay to come on down. Also of note, someone pointed this out earlier in chat, Jeffrey Fisher, he's not colored on the ticker. He is indeed a chase driver. I think that was just an oversight, so we'll get that fixed for next week. But he's having a decent day. Another driver in the same camp of Race Clark, who ironically knows to tail at the moment, 8th and 9th. That made that mistake coming down, missing their stall and or whatever happened, and dropping to the tail end of the field, still paying the price for that. I think they're just kind of hoping a caution comes out just to kind of reset, because they've never been quite able to bounce back from that, and it's going to be hurting them, especially in the upcoming weeks. And speaking of which, next week we're heading to the Charlotte Roval, and that's going to be interesting to see these cars try to maneuver there.
It's a bit of a less scary track than Tsukuba, where they went earlier in the season for a doubleheader. So I think that one will be a bit easier to tackle for these guys. But a playoff race at a road course, it's going to be some definite chaos for sure. And you're talking about Nick Boyd wanting a yellow here. I think he needs that yellow to hold off for about 5 to 10 more laps. He needs to get his lap back here before anything else happens.
Yeah, he's trying to work on that here. Trying to see there's Tanner Sharp up the road. He's just barely on the lead lap. I think Corey Lindsay's right there in between these two drivers. There's Nick Boyd trying to approach the 00 car. I think Lindsay's trying to stretch it. I think he's trying to go the distance.
I think he might be too, and it's not the worst decision. Like I said, he was at the kind of back of the field, so he's down to 25 laps to go. If he's able to stretch it all the way, he's likely going to get a better finish than he would have. He's still got about a 10-second lead on Gruenberg, and those tires are starting to even out. Gruenberg 25.9 last time by to Corey Lindsay's 26.3. So the tires are evening out a little bit. If he can somehow make the tires last, I didn't really expect it to even be a question that Gruenberg would get to him, but maybe it's a possibility.
Yeah, I'm in the camp too. I would have thought that Gruenberg would have caught him by now, because I think I said a few laps ago he was around 13 seconds back. It's only dropped down to 9 seconds back, and we've only got 20, almost approaching less than 20 laps to go in this race, and it's only 10 minutes. So if Lindsay can just kind of back it, find a nice medium, which I think he's definitely has found, he's gonna try to take this all the way home. How about that? I don't think I've seen Lindsay win a race in 3 wide. Again, the league owner has been here for quite a while. He's had some decent finishes, but this could be a win for him if he can just hold on. The gap's starting to fall now, 8.5 seconds. Oh boy.
Yeah, we still don't know if he can even make that right front tire last. How long was it Cameron Rich had to come down? That's a difference between two drivers. It's a huge difference between 2 drivers right there. The first stint for Cameron Rich, it lasted from lap 35 to about lap 75. He only went 40 laps on his tires because of how harshly he was driving the car. 40 laps on the tires, and then the right front blew. And Corey Lindsay's trying to stretch him about 90 laps. Just imagine how different these two have to be driving for there to be a 50-lap difference in how the tires are saved.
Yeah, this is going to be some incredible stuff here. I thought he was just kind of out here just waiting, and I thought this is going to be a relatively poor call, because when you try to hope for a caution coming out and then you have to pit late in a run, you usually end up losing a lot of spots. But even if he doesn't win this race, it's still looking to be a really solid finish for the 00, so we'll see. You might end up getting a top 3 out of this. I think almost definitely a top 5 if you can just make the tires hang on for 20 laps to go. Speaking of which, here he comes across the line. It's going to be 20 laps to go right now for Lindsay, as a gap now 7 seconds between himself and Gruenberg.
And one thing he's got going for him, he's got a convoy with him. The big battle for 8th that's been going on with Jeffrey Fisher, Race Clark, and Brent Miller. They're battling for their own positions, and who's behind them? Second place, Matt Gruenberg. Gruenberg's going to have to get through these guys to be able to have any sort of shot at Lindsay, because Lindsay's not really losing any time to these 3. He's losing a 10th here and there, but really nothing that big. Those 3 aren't going to catch him without something big happening, and Gruenberg's going to have to pass him, and it's not that much faster than them either. Yeah,
and with Lindsay too, we talking about the lap times. He's been running really consistently. I was looking at his last 5 laps. He's been running constantly 26.5, 26.4 is just about. He's been maintaining that quite a bit. Gruenberg's been getting slower and slower, and again has to pass 3 battling cars. Speaking of which, Race Clark going to try to defend on the outside here as he's side by side with Miller. Miller on the inside lane, and that's not what Gruenberg wants to see up ahead.
No, it's not whatsoever. He's going to hope he finds some sort of hole to get through, get a bit lucky. I'm trying to look at other battles that might be on the track too. Eisenman is gotten by Cameron Rich for the 4th position. Rich is back to 5th. Nick Boyd's actually all the way up to 6th position. He's going to have a chance at 4th. He's way faster than Eisenman and Rich right now. Hopefully he makes the tires last, because he had a big gap to get to them, and hopefully he didn't kill his right front trying to get up there. But he is way faster than those 2 right now.
Absolutely. There you see Boyd, and there's Rich right ahead, as you mentioned. Here, as the lap's starting to wind down, I can't believe we went from talking about Gruenberg winning this race to Lindsay having the shot at winning this race. Well, the gap now getting down to 5 seconds, still not said and done, but man, I'm rooting for him. I want to see this happen. I guess this commentator's biased, but this is like fantastic. This is one of the best drives I've seen from Lindsay, and if he's able to pull it off, fantastic stuff. No one else has been able to carry the tires this distance. We thought a lot of the guys were going to start blowing out, but he's been able to manage his pace so far. It's going to be tough, though. Now it's coming down a lot faster. 4 seconds, though.
It's kind of worrying me. He went really high in 1 and 2. That's starting to worry me, because when the car starts pushing more and more, that usually means that the tire is about to go. So he's got 15 laps to somehow make this work. I'd be a bit worried. I'm thinking it's, especially with how much time Jeffrey Fisher's kind of picked up on him, a 27, pretty much a 27 flat from Lindsey. Fisher 9/10 faster. I think the dream's starting to slowly die. I think Lindsey's starting to realize that the tires might not be able to make it, and he has to back down. And the tire's down. It actually just blew out down the backstretch.
Oh no! And it was so so close to a Cinderella story for Lindsey. I'm guessing he's still gonna try to just putt around with that thing.
He's going. You might as well. He's gonna get a better finish if he just stays out, so you might as well.
Ah, man, that's a bit unfortunate there, but Grunberg's still trying to close back in on there. You can see him working through. Now Miller and Fisher up ahead. He's gone past Race Clark. Whoa, Lindsey almost smacking the wall out of turn 2, trying to just nurse that car home for another 15 laps. But here we go. Battle for the lead. It's not really going to be much of a battle. See Lindsey just limping that 00 machine back home. I think he's got to be really lucky that there's no damage from a tire going out.
Oh yeah, and also like I said earlier, that it's not more realistic because he just straight lined into a wall. So definitely lucky for that as well as Cameron Rich was lucky for that too. Speaking of Cameron Rich, he got passed by Nick Boyd, and now Nick Boyd's going to charge trying to get to the 77 of Eisenman for that 4th position.
That's not too far up the road for him as well. There you can see Eisenman looming up ahead. So Boyd having a very surprisingly good run, is running just outside the top 5 for most of the race. Now where it matters the most, he's been at a really solid pace. Get past Rich, we see him starting to struggle on these longer runs. I think he would have definitely preferred some more cautions to spread this event out, but they've just not come to him. Eisman now going to have to be a little bit worried, trying to hold into that 4th place spot up ahead. Miller now working on trying to get past Corey Lindsey, will indeed get past the 00. Lindsey now has got 10 seconds back between himself and Drew Eisenman.
We'll see if he's able to stay in front of Eisenman. Not sure how hard Eisenman might be running his tires, but Corey Lindsey last time by, he's in the 28s right now, so I don't think for 10 laps he's going to be able to hold off Eisenman, but I think he still might be able to pull out possibly a top 10 out of this, which would really be still a win for him because he was not running in the top 10.
Yeah, I was just listening to Lindsey. You can hear as he comes by the camera, you can hear the truck go. Yeah, his left has not been anywhere near good, but again, it's still looking to be a solid place. I think he's running outside the top 10 for most of the race, so no matter where he ends up, I definitely do want to talk to him because this is a fantastic call. Might not have worked out the way he would have liked. I'm sure he's wishing this race was 15 laps shorter, would have ended up taking the W, but unfortunately, you're going to have to just try to focus on limping this car home for the remainder of the event. One guy who isn't limping this car home, Matt Grunberg, up in the 54 machine. I was surprised, when I looked at the standings, I saw that Miller had 6 wins to his name. I'm like, wow, he's been doing a great job. Probably see him again. Nope, of course, the one race to come back, Grunberg's going to take a win as usual, as I've usually seen him done. But he's just done a fantastic job managing the car, keeping the pace up. No one's been able to touch him, especially due to the fact we haven't had any cautions. Only 1 caution the entire race. No one's really been able to take advantage of that. Really helped Grunberg a lot. Got him some fresh tires, and off and away he went. 2nd place, James Miller, just trying to maintain some good pace.
Sorry, I was about to say I was getting worried about Cameron Rich. He was really slowing down, and he couldn't make it. He's in the pit road, and he's going to lose all the spots that he had.
Speaking of losing another spot, Lindsey, he's really slowing down, running 29-second laps. They saw Drew Eisenman just got on by for 4th place, and there's Nick Boyd coming flying out of turn 2. He's also going to pick up another spot as well. Lindsey's still trying to manage that car.
No wall.
Oh man, this has got to be miserable for him. He's got to hold on 7 or 6 more laps to go for that 00 machine. Still has a chance at a top 5, but here comes Tanner Sharp trying to change that in behind.
I can't imagine he likes how the car's handling. What do you think?
I can't imagine. No, he's liking this too much.
Oh, he's in the wall again. It's never good when the car just doesn't turn.
No, it really isn't. And I guess he should be happy that he's not at a faster track, because I feel like if he was at a 1.5 miles, that would have been absolutely miserable to do. I think he would have had to come down, wouldn't have had a choice. But he's still able to manage that with just how high the banking is. They just have the car just kind of roll through the corners. But Lindsey now sitting in 6th place, and there's Brent Miller. There's a gap to the next car, trying to pass him all the way back in 7th place. But for Grunberg here, it's going to be 5 laps to go for him, working through some lap traffic. Pretty solid finish for him, and he's going to close the gap between himself and James Miller for the lead of the chase. Drew Eisenman also still very much within the mix. Race Clark, though, looks like he's going to be the biggest loser, finishing behind all of those guys in 8th place.
And Really, it was all about these playoff drivers, these chase drivers today. The only non-chase driver in that top 5 is Tanner Sharp, who's gotten to the 5th position after passing Corey Lindsey. Obviously, one of the drivers who I kind of expected to make the chase. Just things didn't go his way in the very end, but still a very talented, fast driver in this series. And it's showing right now.
Wreck down the back straightaway. Race car going flying off into the wall. I thought I was just going to do some nice scenic shots here towards the end of this race. And I saw the 22 up flying in the air. And how about that? And as you mentioned, that was with Alex Boyd in the 10. Caution out.
Wow.
Oh boy, with 4 laps to go. I don't remember if we have green white checkers in this series or if they're really doing it.
I think there is one.
Oh man.
What has happened here? Race Clark, I think, is on better tires. And they hit right. Oh, they got hooked.
That probably wasn't the best angle here. Let's try to see if we can get a straight on angle here coming out of turn 2. And I think Boyd thought he was going to hit the wall, came down a little bit low. Clark thought he was going to be a lot higher. And that exit of the corner, very treacherous for these cars, especially with, we talk about how much they slide around, and unfortunately made some contact. And for Clark, that goes from bad to worse for him. And I imagine by drivers coming down to pit lane, we are going to have a green light checkered.
Yeah, definitely. You can't stay out in this situation. The tires are just not gonna do anything on a restart like this. Everyone's gonna kind of force to come down there. There's a bit of net code as well. That is not what Race Clark needed. He was having a solid day. He did what he needed to do, and it just didn't work out. Boyd just bit of net code there and all that.
So I was gonna say, 2 tires worth it? Not worth it. What do you think?
I'd hope not. I wouldn't think so. Maybe Corey Lindsey takes 2. He only needs the right sides. Nick Boyd might have missed a stall.
I was gonna say that actually this helped him out quite a bit. He didn't go a lot down.
Definitely helped him big. So I'm trying to see if anyone does take 4. If anyone takes 2, I'd be shocked if someone did. But really, we've only seen the right fronts blow out, so maybe it wouldn't be too crazy. But I don't think anyone did. Gruberg's easily the race leader off pit road, and 09 James Miller follows him off. They had a big gap on everyone else.
Yep, and here comes everyone else. Oh, here comes Drew Eisenman, Tanner Sharp, Nick Boyd. And you're going to see Lindsey roll through the frame as well here. So you're gonna have no, he's actually still sitting in the stall. Corey, you might want to get back on track, buddy. I think the pace car is coming pretty soon. There's the rest of the cars coming on down. Maybe I think he has some damage, maybe trying to fix. Or not. Oh, there he goes.
I think there is required repairs when a tire goes down, so he might have.
Really?
I think there is. So with how long he ran on a flat tire, I think there might have been. It makes sense if there was some damage. I think he'd be riding the wall in real life, but it works.
Going to come out in 7th place as we got some drivers remaining out here trying to take the wave around. We got Jeffrey Fisher, Michael Goodman, Race Clark, and Justin Coe lined up to get wave arounds here to get back on the lead lap after the 2nd caution of the night. Very late in this race, and it's going to be a very interesting shootout we'll see between these drivers. Who do you got for winning this race?
I think it's gonna be really hard to beat Gruenberg. 09's pretty good on restarts. These two race each other very clean, very hard, and obviously very fast. I don't know how he's gonna be able to pass Gruenberg without a little bit of a bumper. I don't think he can do it on the top line, and he's only got 2 laps to do it. He's gonna have to use the bumper to win. And I don't know if he's gonna do that to his team, but I think it's Gruenberg's to lose.
Yeah, I think really, if anything, it's going to come down to between Gruenberg and Miller, maybe Eisenman and Sharp if things go a bit awry. But again, reminder, we only have 1 attempt at a green-white checker. So, it's gonna, if anything's going to happen, it's going to decide the race. So we'll see here as these guys line up double file. I thought it was going to be a nice, calm end to the night, but I think it's going to get very chaotic here. 2 more laps to go for everyone. And you're gonna have to ship. This is gonna be a very big change in mindset for a lot of these guys. They're focused on long runs, essentially doing two full tire stints, if anything, and just managing the tires. Now you gotta go all in. You're gonna be pushing the car as hard as possible. See who's able to do it the best here, especially between our 2 leaders coming through turns 3 and 4. Or what should be the final time behind the pace car, unless we do see yellow come out. Very much a possibility, especially with some aggressive drivers in behind. Let's get ready for this restart. Pace car going to pull off down onto pit road. Gruenberg control of the field. 2 more laps left in this race. We'll see who's going to get back to the stripe first in 2 laps time. He's going to go, going to stop, going to go again. Green flag back in the air.
As good of a restart as James Miller could have gotten, able to stay on the outside through 1 and 2. Maybe going to try to pinch him to that yellow line. He might have a shot here if he can do it just right. They're going to be dead even at a 2.
Yeah, he's going to try everything. As you mentioned, this is all he's got. He's going to give it his all here. Going to be just to the outside of Grunberg into 2. We've not seen that outside lane work all night long.
The yellow's out. Who got the lead there? Did the 09 get it? I think Grunberg might have gotten it.
I think it was Grunberg here as we have a wreck in behind. Grunberg comes to take the white and the yellow flag simultaneously. Trying to see who that was. That was Skylar Nissel in the 11. That was around in 3 and 4, but we'll come back as it looks like it's going to be Matt Grunberg to takes the win by, imagine, only a few tenths of a second. Unfortunately, to James Miller's dismay. Whoa, as you see, Nick Boyd missed the pace car and almost took out a few more cards.
Almost took out Eisenman. That could have been big penalty points, I would assume. Wow, that was very close. I know the scoring loops are very crazy when it comes to those types of yellows coming out. So I thought Miller might have had them. We still don't even know. Grunberg might just be pulling ahead of him. They're going to make it interesting. At least it's going to be a photo finish.
Yeah, I think they're lining up for the photos here. You're able to hear the crowd going wild here. They've been in for a very interesting race. But it's going to be Matt Grunberg across the line first, and he will take home the win at the Rock. James Miller in second, Drew Eisenman in third, Tanner Sharp in fourth, Nick Boyd in fifth. Now Corey Lindsay going to rebound for a 6th place finish for him. Some great stuff here. We'll take a look to try to see what happened, what brought out that caution. Because I'm curious, do you think that Miller might have had anything for him had that not come out?
I think he had his chance in 1 and 2, but that top just wasn't working in 3 and 4. He was going to have to probably get physical, maybe cut to the even the apron into turn 1, down the front into turn 1 or something like that. I just don't think he could have done it on the top. But he almost was able to get the lead there. If the yellow came out a little earlier, he might have had him.
Yeah, I think that's going to be, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Just kind of hoping that everything went the way it did. But you see Fisher with a little bit of a congratulatory bump to his teammate. Grunberg back in victory lane with a 3rd time this season. Going to light it up down the front straight with the fresh Goodyears he just recently put on. Definitely got the most out of him.
Oh, without a doubt, for sure. And he got the most out of the rest of the field today. It just pretty much knocked out the rest of the field. Pretty much everyone was just following him for the whole entire race. Fastest car by far, best at saving tires as well. He's going to burn him down like he deserves to.
Look at that. Definitely has a lot of practice lining it up. Lighting it up down the... hear the fans enjoying it. I feel like they've made them louder. I'm not sure if it's just me or not.
I'm not quite sure.
Absolutely.
They were definitely loud for this one.
Yeah, some great stuff done by the 54 of Matt Grunberg. We're going to take a quick commercial break here. We'll grab some drivers to interview, and we'll be right back for some more. We'll also take a look at the incident that brought out the caution. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Rockingham, North Carolina, here with your 6th place finisher, Corey Lindsay. And man, Corey, I gotta say, for a while, it didn't look like you were gonna take anything. We thought you were just gonna come back into the pits and ended up finishing way back. But then we started to realize with around 20 laps to go, you actually had a shot of winning this thing. Unfortunately, it didn't quite go that way.
Yeah, I didn't expect that either. I was checking my fuel, and I knew I was going to be good on fuel. I was probably going to be about 4 laps to the green. It just came down to tires. Before that caution, I was probably riding around for about 7-8 laps with a blown right front tire, and that was pretty wild. I never experienced that before, but yeah, man, just riding around hoping to get to the end or have some type of weird caution come out. Luckily, it worked out. I didn't get the win or anything close to that, but I'll take 6th, 7th, whatever I got. I'm happy with that.
And so did you end up going on the strategy knowing you had a shot at taking the win, or just kind of hoping to see what happens? And also, did you think that anyone else was going to try that strategy as well?
I think Nick tried, and he realized it wasn't going to work out too good with where everyone else was on track. I just kind of went for it. I try to do that. I just try to get something different whenever we get a green flag race going. And yeah, man, I just try to do what they don't, because I know that's probably the only shot that I'll have at, a top 3 or whatever we have going on there. But I'll take 6. That's cool, man.
Yeah, well, definitely we were rooting for you in the booth. Unfortunately, it didn't quite happen that way. If only the race is 20 laps shorter. But Corey, that was a fantastic strategy call. It almost worked out for you, but a great run overall. Especially, you have to be said, to manage those tires that long. Especially because we saw a lot of guys blowing out a lot, like almost 30, 40 laps earlier than you did. So fantastic drive.
Thanks, man.
All right, and with that, we'll go to our third place finisher, Drew Eisenman. Drew, you're kind of best of the rest. It was kind of tough to keep up with the Miller and Grunberg up ahead. You feel, maybe anything else you could have tried differently this race to improve your finishing position?
Yeah, I was really, really happy with the car that last long green run. I think I just kind of figured out what I needed to do. I cranked the brake bias to like 49%. To just try to get that thing to turn on entry. And I think I was actually a little quicker than James there, at least. That's all I had in my F1 as far as being able to see what was going on. But I just don't think that I was able to kind of balance really good short run pace and good long run pace that those guys were able to do. I would have liked to try to save my stuff more and tried what Corey did. I think one of the front runners could have made that strategy work. It's just being in the playoffs, I don't think that it was necessarily worth the risk of going a bunch of laps down if it doesn't work. But I'm pretty happy with 3rd.
Yeah, speaking of the playoffs, you're coming in 2nd. You're just coming in 3 points back from Miller. It's obviously going to expand a little bit more, but any particular tracks is coming up on the schedule that you think maybe you can get some race win, if not some really solid points for your championship run?
Yeah, I pretty much like all of them. I'm super excited for the Roval. We kind of did a race there with a few of the guys in the league, including James Miller, this last week, kind of in preparation for this. And I'm super, super happy with my short run pace. I think if I'm not quickest over the span of a lap, I'd be disappointed. Like if I don't, if I'm not right there for the pole, I struggled a little bit keeping tires on it. I just tend to lock up a little too much and murder my front tires. But really all of them, I really like this first round. This was kind of the one track where I was a little worried about because I struggled a little bit at Darlington, and this is kind of the same thing where it's really punishing. If you screw up just a little bit, it's really easy to pound the turn 2 wall. But able to get through this one clean and looking forward to the rest of this round. And really, with the exception of Talladega, which, who knows what's going to happen, I think that the playoffs in general, the schedule, the next 5 or so races really suit my driving style. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing how you perform in the rest of this chase, Drew. Thanks for talking to us, and congrats on your 3rd place finish.
Appreciate it, Finney, and it's good to see you in the booth again.
Thank you. All right, moving on next to our 2nd place finisher. We got James Miller. James, you were definitely looking to be a solid driver early on, but then Grunberg ended up passing you, and you never quite really saw him that much again. You got pretty close just after pit stops under that green flag run. But do you think, maybe there's something you could have tried differently to get ahead of your teammate, or do you think you're kind of the 2nd was the best you could have got?
No, to be honest with you, coming into it, my pick was on Matt. He's just had such good history at this track of just absolutely dominating. And on initial practice, I just wasn't really happy with the car. I wasn't just driving it the way I needed to, and I was struggling with saving that right front. And I just, I was, I think 4 seconds back when I finally came in, and I figured just, all I could do was just try to undercut him and hope that I could stay with him. And I think I just burnt it up trying to make up time early. And he just slowly pulled away, and lap traffic wasn't holding him up like I wanted to. But I got that wild last moment caution with the green white checkered, and I was like, okay, here's my chance. And he still said I couldn't get him. He said as long as he had the inside, I had no shot. But I think I could have proved differently if that caution didn't come out. But it was a lot of fun right at the end there, trying to make that outside work. But no, it was a good day. Solid points day, no damage. Didn't lead a lap, I guess, unfortunately, would be the only part. But Corey, I think Corey messed everything up there by staying out for so long. I don't think I could have done it if I stayed out after Matt. So I guess that's the only bonus point that I probably I was lacking on. But no, solid points for the start of the season, and look to improve from here on out.
Yeah, and we got Charlotte coming up next week, and imagine you definitely got that circled with a marker quite a bit. You definitely love your road courses. You've been very good at the road courses, so looking forward to seeing how you do there, especially considering with the points up, you are officially the leader coming out of this round.
Right on. Yeah, look forward to it. It's going to be a long one with 50 minutes, though. But seems like it'll be a late race and probably colder temperatures, so the tires will probably cooperate, hopefully. But yeah, it'll definitely be interesting with pit strategy and everything.
All right, James, thanks for talking to us, and best of luck for your playoffs.
All right, thank you.
And last but certainly not least, Matt Grunberg in the number 54 machine. Matt, your third win of the season. I was honestly surprised because I haven't been following the series since I kind of took a bit of a break from broadcasting. See, you only had 2 wins to your name, but I think you're slowly starting to pick them back up here, especially now where it matters the most. You're essentially fighting with your teammate, James Miller, for the championship. How do you feel, paired up against him? How do you feel, I'm trying to say, how do you feel as a matchup, where are you guys going to be, where do you think you're going to have the advantage?
I think I'll have the advantage at any track that isn't a road course. James is pretty good at road courses, and I think he's definitely in the class of the field when we go there. But other than that, I think we got a pretty good shot at the remaining tracks. North Wilkesboro will be interesting. Haven't ran a race there yet. And then the final 3 races, Talladega is going to be a wild card, and then Phoenix, and I can't remember what the last race is, but I know it's not a road course, so
it is
we're
Homestead.
in good shape there. Oh, Homestead. Okay, yeah, I think I'll be pretty good on the final 3 races, which is what matters, as long as Talladega goes good.
Yeah, I know that's a big question mark for everyone heading into that round. I also wanted to ask too. You seem pretty decent on your tie wear. Do you think we saw Corey Lindsey? He tried to attempt the call of going the entire distance of that last stint on a single without pitting. Do you think that you could probably have done the same, or do you think the way that you were running is just too much?
I would have definitely had to slow down a little bit to make it the full 90 laps. The way I was running, I wasn't going to make it. I think the longest I would have made it was going to be about 60 to 65 before I would blow the right front. But if I was in the situation and I had to run a little bit slower, I think I might have been able to make it. So.
Well, either way, it doesn't matter because you still ended up in first even after that late race restart, but it still worked out for you in the end. Another win for you, Matt, and probably I imagine you might have a few more coming your way, but definitely best of luck to you, especially with as competitive as the chase has been so far.
Yeah, thank you. We've actually haven't had the best of lucks in the last few weeks, gotten involved in some wrecks here and there, but now the playoffs is on. We're going to turn it up to 100%, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, indeed. Looking forward to. Thanks for talking to us, Matt. Good. Congrats on your win.
Thank you.
All right, with that, it's going to wrap up interviews here from 3 Wide here at Rockingham. A really good race, especially early on. Kind of trickled out, and we had that fun at the end there, hoping to see if Lindsay could hold on to it for a very surprise underdog win. Fortunately, it wasn't meant to be, and also a nice little green-white checkered finish at the end. So a little bit of everything from this race. Definitely a reason for the fans to be so excited.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. It seems like every time a league or anything comes to Rockingham, I'm always expecting something that's not very great as far as a racing product, but I'm always blown away. It's just always a great race, whether it's the new Cup cars or the old Cup cars, Xfinity cars, everything performs here. We get a lot of green flag action, a lot of side-by-side racing. For a track that's really one-lined, we see a lot of clean side-by-side racing as well. Not really many bump and runs, if any, today. So a really clean race all around, and definitely Matt Gruenberg showing that he's a dominant force in this chase.
Yeah, absolutely. Done a fantastic job so far. He's not the leader just yet. He's 1 point behind James Miller, who's the current points leader. Then we got directly in behind, 3 points back to Drew Eisenman. You're your top 3 coming out of this round for the next few rounds of the playoffs. Definitely stay tuned to that one. Kyle's back in the booth. Hopefully he doesn't make as many mistakes as I did. I only made a few mistakes, and I think it was a good stream for me coming back after being off for a month. Hope everyone enjoyed watching. If you want to hear me again, Connor's going to be joining me tomorrow night, where instead of racing, I'm going to be broadcasting the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series from Michigan. So in the Xfinity car, that should be a really fun race to watch in those machines. Those cars race. I love the way those cars race. Always put on a good show, especially with that group of guys. If you want to see more from this series, again mentioned, they're going to be starting up again next week at the Charlotte Roval. That's going to be a lot of fun to see cars like these handle such a tight and narrow circuit, really made for more modern machinery, but they're saying in the test race it went pretty well, so looking forward to seeing the product on track. We also got later this week on Wednesday, the Washington Region CCA, they're heading to Laguna Seca for their GT4 and TCR series. I forgot the name of the series off the top of my head, but I know those are the cars running it. Scars Ferrari Challenge, they're heading to Watkins Glen on Thursday, and Outsiders Racing heading to Road Atlanta on Scars is heading to Brands Hatch this week. Outsiders is heading to Road Atlanta on Saturday, and I actually just realized I was originally going to broadcast that race, but I might actually end up running it because I don't have to worry about broadcasting it because Kyle's going to broadcast it, so I may be in the field for that.
From Road Atlanta, and he said he's going to make sure he does not get locked out. That ain't happening this time.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen for him. But as far as that's concerned, that's going to pretty much it. Great race from Rockingham for this group of drivers, and looking forward to seeing what happens next week and also tomorrow night for the Fuel Series. So on that note, my name is Finn Yakuna here with Connor Horn. We're going to be signing out for tonight. Thank you for watching.